Hello, I'm Austin,
And I'm Alicia.
and we are reporting to you live, everywhere, every place. You name it, we're there. And we are reporting news today, every single type of news. And we are reporting sports news for the moment. For most PGA Tour pros, 2 victories and 2 runner-ups makes for a pretty nice career. For Tiger Woods, it makes for a pretty nice month. Fact is, those who maintained Tiger's 1-1-2-2 record in August was actually an underachievement. Should have swept them all. It's unfair both to Tiger Woods and his talented group of fellow competitors to expect the game's number 1 ranked player to triumph on every single occasion in which he tees up. As any pro will contend, claiming that W is the most important thing, but if you can't win, if you're not in contention, consider it a testament to Tiger's ability that without his A game for much of the past months, especially on the greens, he's still been able to comply such lofty results. And it's no surprise that Tiger tops this current edition of the power rankings in a runaway fashion. Now, on a sadder note, there is a baby born in New Delhi with the heart protruding from his chest and is set to undergo complex surgery. Doctors were surprised the child even lived. The child has a hole in his heart, and it's a rare disease called ectopia cordis, where the chest fails to close over part of the heart. Doctors is very surprised that the baby has been able to survive despite so many complexities. For other news, in London, England, 2 Norwegian citizens were sentenced to death Tuesday in the Democratic Republic of the Congo for espionage, murder, and attempted murder, Norway's Ministry of Foreign Affairs has confirmed to CNN. A military court in Kisangi found Chisamli Molan, 28, and Joshua French, 27, guilty in all charges. In a most unusual case, a man was growing a garden, but that's not the unusual part. His plants wouldn't grow, so he set up a camera to see if anything was eating his plants. He saw most of the normal animals, except for a big animal that looked like a bear or an ape. Some people, of course, suggested that it was Bigfoot. For national news, on Labor Day Festival in Hooper, Utah, a motorized parachute crashed into a crowd, injuring people and including children, authorities said. People were gathering below this vehicle because it was going to drop candy, and it was an expected annual thing, but the wind hit and it plummeted, making it crash and get 6 people injured. Now let's go to my partner Alicia for local and entertainment news.
Thank you, Austin. In local news this week, there's happy news for the baby gorilla that was born July 27th at the Henley-Durley Zoo. After being treated for a broken arm, the baby gorilla will finally be making his debut this Friday. He is the offspring of Tamu and Samson and weighs only 7.5 pounds. He will be on public display in the nursery exhibit of the Hubbard Gorilla Valley. Once he regains his strength, he will be placed back with the other gorillas. In other news, a motorcyclist is in jail after running from state troopers earlier this week. 24-year-old Garrick Williamson was riding with his friends when they got pulled over for doing wheelies on Interstate 680. Williamson ran off for fear of getting caught with a suspended license. He eventually gave up and was arrested at a gas station near 90th and 4th Streets. Officials say if Williamson hadn't run from troopers, he wouldn't be in jail and facing a flight to avoid arrest charge. Also, Omaha police are investigating a Tuesday night shooting that happened last week after a teenager walked into a hospital with a bullet wound to his leg. Investigators said that Brian Flowers was sitting in front of his house when one of 4 people at a nearby house fired a gun in his direction. Flowers is expected to recover, and investigators are asking anyone with information to call the Omaha Crime Stoppers at 444-STOP. And in health this week, 2 Omaha public schools each confirmed an H1N1 case. One was reported at Pawnee Elementary School on South 48th Street. Another was confirmed at Prairie Wind Elementary School near 109th and Ellison Avenue. The schools are notifying all parents. School officials said the schools will not close. In entertainment this week, Jim Bob and Michelle Duggar of TLC's 18 Kids and Counting are expecting their 19th child. Michelle is expected to give birth 5 months after daughter-in-law Anna gives birth to the Duggars' first grandchild. In other television news, former first daughter Jenna Bush Hager has joined the crew of the Today morning show. Hager will be a correspondent who will contribute stories about once a month on issues like education. Her first story is expected to be on sometime next month. Moving on to the big screen. The biggest movies of summer are as follows. 500 Days of Summer, starring Zooey Deschanel and Joseph Gordon-Levitt, was the biggest independent film, bringing in about $25 million, a surprising total for not being in many theaters. Land of the Lost, starring Will Ferrell, was the biggest flop of the summer, bringing in only $49 million, much less than expected. The biggest surprise of the summer was The Hangover, bringing in roughly $270 million, which is pretty good for having no A-list stars. The biggest winner was Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen, bringing in about $400 million in the United States alone. Ice Age: Dawn of the Dinosaurs was the biggest international hit with about $613 million. Whoever said dinosaurs were extinct anyway? And what about Harry Potter? Well, Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince was the biggest hit worldwide, bringing in a total of about $895 million. Who knew witchcraft could be so popular? Well, that's it for our podcast this week. Thanks for listening and join us next time.
Be there or be square.